Hello and welcome back. This is ProTaleDev back with another crystal sales video, and this time we're going to be looking a bit more at the UI. I've made some changes to the UI mainly. So this is what I'm considering the second day, and I wanted to focus more on the crafting and the inventory and redesigning it to make it look a little bit more polished. I tried a bunch of different designs, so that took a bit of time, but I ultimately came with a more simplistic design, which I think you'll like. So to get straight into it, I'm just going to show it off first. So if I just press play right here, in fact, from now on, I'm going to try and remember to go into full screen right here. And as you can see, we can look around, we can move around and do what we usually do. Like we can collect a bunch of things right here. There will be some minor changes that you can see right here while I'm collecting stuff, but we'll go into them in a bit more detail in a moment. So I'm collecting a bunch of different things right now. You can hear me clicking to collect them. I'm going to make the collision for these items a little bit bigger as well, so they're easier to hit. Anyway, so let's say we collected a bunch of items right there. We can then go into our inventory. So as you can see, we've got a bit more design to them. It looks a little bit more polished, a little bit nicer. It took a bunch of different types of designs before I finally settled on this. And then as you can see, what we got is all our different items that we can collect. Right here on our left section, and on our right section we have the information and how to use it. So first of all, if we click on the very first one, it's actually a tree. It's a little bit hard to see, but I'll show it in a bit more. I'll zoom in a little bit when we go into our canvas. We have our mushrooms, we do have our description and our text work and our title. So we have our brown mushrooms, fresh water, some loose rock. We have our fruit flower. We have our glowing crystal. We have our broken logs, we have our plant fiber, and then we have these little areas right here which are blank. I plan on filling that out later. I'm just sort of leaving them as a spare slot in case I come up with a little bit more. I'm just trying to keep it simple now and not too many items. And then we got our other two right here, which is our, this is actually our mushroom soup, and then right here we got our vegetable dish. Okay, I've just gone and fixed an issue with the mushroom soup. It's now should be working. There we go. It's now completely working. Just a slight issue. It only took about a minute or so to fix. Anyway, so as you can see, we can click on all of these different items and it will show their description correctly. It'll also give you the title, what they're called, and then we can use it to actually replenish. Now, there's no functionality yet with the actual what we can use. So what the mushroom soup will do is fill up a food meter. I know I said I wouldn't have any health, but food isn't exactly health. It's more of a timed thing to keep to essentially keep you on your toes. There's got to be some reason to collect a lot of this food and a lot of these items. There's got to be some danger of progression. And the reason is because I need you to be able to prepare for these long trips on sailing. So the better the food, the higher you can fill up your food meter and the longer you'll be able to stay at sea. Okay, so let's say that now we have a bunch of these items. As you can see, I've collected some. What we can do now is we can go into our crafting. So if we go into our crafting, we have a similar menu, but we can actually click on these items to see what we can craft. Now, a lot of these items aren't done yet, so a lot of their crafting amount and their icon doesn't change yet. However, that's the next thing I'll be doing. I'll be basically fixing that. But what we can do is we can click on these, and at the moment only these two are working. You can see they're actually changing. But what we can do is we can click on mushroom soup because this one is working. If we click on it and we craft it, what will happen is it will actually craft the item. So if I just go into our inventory right here, as you can see, we have one mushroom soup. And again, we could use that if we wanted to, and that would keep our food up. So the crafting is working. I just need to replicate that to all of the other items, and that'll be really quick. It's just a simple thing that I can do. So now let's go into our canvas and actually show the items what they look like. In fact, I can actually do this. I can show the icons. So what I've done is I've got an icon generator to generate real 3D objects and prefabs into actual icons right here. Now that code wasn't done by me. It was actually a pack that I downloaded simply because I don't know much about creating icons from those digital items. I haven't got time to really learn. I'm sure I'd be able to get it if I just took my time to learn it, but I don't really have too much time right now while I'm trying to make this game. I might do that afterwards, but for now, basically this generator creates these icons in a separate scene, and these icons are basically the object. You can see our different items that we have. For example, our vegetable soup, and let's say before we had our mushroom soup. Right there, you can see it a little bit better. Now, these icons go into our canvas. Now they're a bit dark because they've added a brown tint to them, just to add them into the menu to fit in. But I'm probably going to change that, so as you can see them a little bit better in here. And if I did the same thing for the canvas, you'd be able to see them as well on here. So yeah, custom icons from 3D objects. Of course, those 3D objects had to come from somewhere, and I had to make them first in a prefab. So if I go to my prefabs, you can actually see the items themselves. So if I just go into our scene right here, you can see the actual items. So this is our vegetable dish. We got our rock, our loose rock, crystal. We got our branch, which is more brown than grey. So we have different branches. The grey ones are the ones that are dead, and these light brown ones are the ones that are new, that have just come off the tree, that are usable. We have our plant fibre, our mushroom soup. We got fresh water, which is just a square at the moment. We got our fruit flowers, which actually you can tell which ones are fruit flowers based on the little yellow bud that they've got at the top. The other flowers don't have one of these. If this flower does, then this is the actual fruit flower. Then the mushrooms, I changed from the red mushrooms to these mushrooms, simply because traditional edible mushrooms are usually like this. The other ones that are usually brighter coloured are usually poisonous, so it didn't make sense for them to be edible. Then we have a campfire, which I've added in with some special effects. So like here, you can see once we've be able to craft this campfire, you'll be able to stay warm next to it, and you'll be able to potentially cook stuff. I'm not 100% sure yet, but at least you'll be able to stay warm, and that's going to be another thing that's important. On the sloop, you won't be able to stay warm. On the brigantine, you'll be a bit warm, but you'll still slowly, like your temperature will slowly drop, because the oceans are very cold, especially at night or in a storm. It's very cold. There's a lot of wind. And the other thing is the galleon will most likely have no temperature drop at all. That's one of the reasons to get it. And then the last thing is the beacon. So if I just quickly go down here, basically there'll be a light coming off it that will allow the player to see from quite far away. But you can actually see what the beacon looks like. It's just an object. It's got sticks, fiber, it's got the crystal, and I believe that's how it's going to be made, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, still coming up with the actual recipe itself for a lot of these items. Now, last but not least is the materials. So I've added a bunch of different materials in. This is just standard materials like the fresh water and the other materials that go on our objects. So that is pretty much it. I haven't actually done much else with the game. So tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to finish the crafting and the inventory and try and get that finished. And then I'm going to try and add, once that's done, you'll be able to craft all the different ships, so I'll work on actually sailing possibly to other islands to add more items. I'm also probably going to make some items on this main island scarcer, and probably some are going to be removed. The reason is because you shouldn't be able to get every item in the game on this one island. At the moment you can get everything except the crystal. And so what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to remove some of the other stuff. So I'll probably leave things like sticks and fiber, but probably everything else, possibly fresh water as well, will be removed. This will mean that you'll need you'll have to quickly go out and get more of these resources, especially water, fresh water, which are around on the map, like in this one island. But again, if we make fresh water scarce, then food becomes a much more a priority to find. Okay, so that was what I've done on the second day. So this has been Crystal Sales, and hopefully we can carry on and get more stuff done by tomorrow. So this has been ProTaleDev, and I'll see you next time.